Elizabeth Bender with Take Me Fishing, and I'm here at the Bassmaster Classic. Joining me today is Brandon Palaniuk. He is one of the competing anglers in this weekend's tournament. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good. We're here at Media Day. Just kind of starting to wrap things up, hanging out, just getting my tackle ready for this weekend.
Great. Now, you said this is the third time you're competing?
Yep, this is my third consecutive classic.
Great. So, what do you do to mentally prepare for this big weekend?
I try to get my mind right, try to get focused on the task at hand. And this is a life-changing tournament. It's the biggest tournament you can fish as a tournament angler. So, a lot of preparation goes into it mentally. Visualizing catching the fish, visualizing, hoisting that trophy over your head. That thing's 52 pounds, so you kind of got to get prepared for that thing. But it sounds funny to a lot of people, that you need to be mentally prepared for fishing. But when you're fishing against the best 53 guys in the world, you got to take every advantage you can get.
Definitely. Did you bring any lucky charms with you? Anything kind of unique in your tackle box?
I have a lucky fish whistle, and that was originated by Brian Kirchhoff. He was a Federation angler. He's the only Federation angler to ever win the Classic as a Federation angler in '94, and tragically he died 3 months after he won. So he wasn't even able to defend his title. No one's ever done it again. But he had a fish whistle that he blew every time he caught a fish in that Classic, and I have one of his replica fish whistles that I carry around with me all the time.
Wow. How did you come across that? Is that just something you were able to find?
A friend of mine, Levi Cushman at home, he'd actually contacted Brian's parents, and they have a foundation, it's the Kirchhoff Foundation, and his dad had sent a replica whistle to me, and I had it in my first Classic. I blew it in Brian's honor, and I've carried it with me ever since.
Is he an idol of yours? Is that somebody you aspire to be?
Yeah, he's he's one of the guys that I look up to because I made it in through the Federation. That's how I qualified for my first Classic. That's how I qualified for the Bassmaster Elite Series. So he's always been a guy that I've looked up to and still do.
So of other guys that you look up to, who has taught you to fish?
A guy at home when I was 8 years old took me out. His name's Jeremy Tripp, and without him I wouldn't be here. So for him to take out a kid that he didn't even know, that was the first time we met, is when we went out on the water. When he took me out, it was life-changing because now I get to do what I love. So I encourage anybody, if they have the ability or the opportunity to take kids fishing, that's what they need to do.
Did he give you any first tips or tricks when you first got on the water? Do you remember anything from that?
I can remember catching a couple fish. It was not that old, but it seems like it was a long time ago. And so it's hard to remember a lot of the things. I just remember watching him and being amazed at how well he could cast, and really just learning by watching him. He instructed me a lot on just how I needed to present my baits. And I can remember catching a fish off of one bush. It was a 4-pound largemouth, and I can still go to that same bush and catch fish off of it. The same bush is still there in the lake. I can still catch fish off of it.
That's great.
So it's awesome to be able to go and see that. It brings back a lot of good memories.
Yeah. So have you gotten a chance when you're not competing like this to sort of pass on that tradition and teach some other folks to fish?
Yeah, the great thing about what BASS is doing now is they're bringing in so many youth anglers. We've got high school fishing. There's states like Illinois that kids can actually get a letter just like they could playing baseball or football or whatever. They can get that in fishing now, and they can go to college. There's colleges offering sponsorships, and they can work their way up into the Classic. So I've had the ability to work with some of the kids locally at home in Idaho through the Federation and get them out and try to help them out as much as possible. And it's kind of the pay it forward thing. Someone did it for me. I want to pass that on and be able to get some of the kids out that might not have the opportunity.
That's awesome. So let's say you were going to take me out, even though I've already done fishing. But let's say I hadn't. What were the top 3 things you would want to tell me if I was just learning to fish?
The biggest thing is probably patience. That's the hardest thing for people to get right off the bat is patience. The next thing would probably be the mechanics. Learning how to cast correctly, Probably start with a spinning rod, something like that, and learn how to cast something real simple.
Yeah.
Keeping it basic in the beginning. And the next thing would probably be just kind of the movements of the fish. How fish start to go along. But I would say the biggest, is just kind of patience, and then the basic mechanics of the two things.
Yeah. How do you think tomorrow's going to be? Have you been able to read the fish yet this weekend with the practice rounds? How's tomorrow looking?
I've got a little bit of a pattern going. When you've got this many good guys out here, it's hard to judge how good it's really going to be, or what I have will hold up or not. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be cold. Weather's changing. We got a front in right now, and it's going to blow out, and it's going to be bluebird skies, and I think 22 degrees in the morning. So we've got an early start. I'll be all bundled up in my Sims gear, and I'll be good to go.
That's great. How does the weather affect you? I mean, do you think that it's going to have any changes in terms of the fish's activity?
I think these fish are fairly used to the colder weather up here. I mean, it's Midwest, weather changes all the time. These fish have seen it throughout their life, and it doesn't affect them as much under the water as it does above the water. So I think it'll have more of an effect on a lot of the anglers than it will the fish.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
For more information on the Bassmaster Classic, follow us at takemefishing.org.